Guys, I've got a couple of really killer galloping metal riffs for you to learn today. Now, I'm calling these advanced galloping riffs, and I'll talk more about why they're advanced at the end of this video. Of course, you'll be able to tell as we're going through this why I'm calling them advanced and not beginner intermediate galloping riffs, but there's another reason behind this. Again, we'll cover that at the end of the video in our usual guitar chat that we always have after these lessons, so hang around for that. Now, real quick, if you're not familiar with the galloping technique, all it is just a quick 1, 2, 3 alternate pick, and I'll demonstrate here, okay? Now, if you've never tried this technique before, or if it's something that you struggle with, I want you to first go watch my Galloping for Beginners video. I'll put it up there. Go watch that, then come back and go through this lesson here. One more thing before we dive into the lessons. For my Patreon supporters, you guys have the tabs, and you have 2 backing tracks for these riffs that we're about to cover, so make sure you grab those. Already you can tell this is indeed at least an intermediate to advanced galloping riff. And what I mean by that is we're not just hanging on one open note or just playing a couple of notes there. We're moving around on the fretboard, which is something I strongly encourage you to do. I want you guys to move around more on that fretboard. Don't just hang on the low notes all the time. Now, one easy way to think of this riff, and this is a strategy that I kind of use here, kind of like a melodic strategy that I like to use from time to time, is we're kind of going back and forth, flopping back and forth. We're on the A string, and I'll call out the notes, but first, what I'm doing here is kind of starting out with a high note, then we're going 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Now I'm thinking of that Paula Abdul song, Opposites Attract. Hey, I'm an 80s kid, I can't help it. So we're kind of following that strategy, right? We're starting the high note, 2 steps forward to a low note, 1 step back to a high note. Then we're going to go to another low note, and we go into the E power chord there. By the way, you guys know I'm in standard tuning. Most of you already know that. So let's talk about the frets. Let's go through that, because then once we have that down, there are only a few notes here. It makes integrating the galloping part a little bit easier. So we go over the notes first, then we integrate galloping instead of trying to boil the ocean all at one time, because sometimes that can be overwhelming, right? So we're on the 10th fret of the A string. We're starting out there. I start with my pinky finger here. There's no right or wrong way. Start with whatever's most comfortable to you. I always encourage you guys to do that. So we're going to go from 10 to 7, 9, 5, then the E power chord. Okay, that's it. Now let's integrate the galloping technique in there. And we're just galloping 1, 2, 3 very quickly. Okay. And I'm also going to gallop that open E string. And then I'm going to go into that power chord there. Now, another thing that sort of makes this a little bit more advanced is we're galloping, then we're going into that power chord there, but we're doing downstrokes for that palm muting. So we're kind of mix and matching the galloping technique, which is alternate picking, based on alternate picking, with downstrokes. And this is how I like to practice. This is how I like for you guys to practice, is integrate both, because most of the metal riffs that you're going to write, and you're probably already writing, well, they're going to have both in there. So why not practice both of them together as if you're playing real riffs, real songs, and writing your own pieces of music? It's okay to focus on one and then focus on the other, but make sure you're also putting them together in your practice time as well. Okay, and that's why we're doing this. Now, the last time around, we don't, and this is another little nuance here that might make this a little bit more advanced. We're going to end on a different power chord. So just watch me real closely here. I'm going to play through the whole riff, okay? But then we'll focus on that last power chord, and I'll share why that might be a little challenge for you. Okay, so we're galloping that open E string. That second passage there, same thing all the way through, right? Same frets on the A string, but instead of ending with that E power chord, we're ending with an F sharp power chord. The only challenge might be because when you're doing that gallop on that open E string, and we're still doing that, that third alternate pick, which you're going to go down, up, down, well, that third time around is actually not going to be open. So it's going to be open, open. This is part of the gallop, right? So downstroke, upstroke, part of the alternate picking pattern here, open, open, but then you're going to be on that second fret on that third pick going down. So remember, the gallop is down, up, down. So it's like this. So that might be something you want to practice, and of course we go into the downstroke palm muting after that. See, I just screwed up. Screwed up again. Alright, one more time. Got it. Looks like I need to practice my galloping a little bit more. Let me run through this slow, okay? What really makes this an advanced galloping riff, and I should have mentioned this a few seconds ago, but it's the fact that we're not just galloping on one note. And it's sort of like what we did with the F sharp power chord. If you remember, we started galloping on the open E string, but we didn't finish the gallop there. We actually finished the gallop, that third note of the gallop, we finished it with the F sharp. So same concept here, okay? We are on that 10th fret. We're starting the gallop there, right? We're going to go down, up, but then that next down very quickly is going to be that next fret. So we're breaking that gallop up in the middle of the gallop, or almost in the middle of the gallop there. So it kind of gives it this really just cool, like listen to this. Very hard for me to play that slow, but let's try to slow that down a little bit. There we go. That wasn't so hard, Jason. Okay, so that's the concept that we're using here. And then we're just continuing on the movement with the rest of the notes with downstrokes. Between the 10th and the 9th fret, we break up the gallop, okay? On the 10th fret, 1, 2, 9th fret, 1, okay? Or 3, rather, because 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that made sense. I didn't want to confuse you there. Then we move on to that 7th fret, then back to the 9th fret, okay? Okay? Then we're actually going to go back to the 7th fret again before going over to the next string. So once we finish that little riff, that part of the riff on the A string, we move over to the E string, and the notes we're going to play in the first section there. And I'm going through this part a little bit slower, guys, so just hang in here with me, because we are playing quite a few notes here and adding that extra little 1, 2, 3, breaking up the gallop. So I just want to go through this a little bit slower than what I normally would. So we're on the E string now. We're on the 10th fret. Then we're going to also play frets 7 and 8. 10, 8, 7. So let me play this through, just this first part, so that it makes sense. So basically we play those series of notes, right? We get to the E string here, 10, 8, 7. Then we do it again. When we go back to it, we add that little breakup of the gallop. This time we're breaking up the notes, or the frets rather, 10 and 8. So 2 on 10, 1 down, 2 up. Okay, that's on the 10th fret. Then the last stroke, the third stroke, the downstroke with that gallop is going to be on the 8th fret. And then we just finish out with that 7th fret. Back to 8, then we're going to go into the rest of the notes after that. So Let me start from scratch, okay, and then we'll finish up the last part of this. Kind of screwed that last part up, but we'll get there. So now, once we finish those two little sections, those two parts of the riff that we played down here, we're now going to go to the open E string. So it's going to be kind of like feel the pattern at this point. It's like a series of 3 notes. Each part of the pattern is really just a series of 3 notes. That's really it. It's just how we play them, the sequence we play them, and of course adding that really cool breakup galloping technique in there. I kind of like that, the gallop breakup, or the breakup gallop, whatever you want to say. Gallop, I'm breaking up with you. No, don't do that. Don't break up with gallops. Open E string. We're going to go to 5, 7, and then 8. Okay. And then we're going to gallop. We're going to do the breakup gallop between the 8th and 7th fret there. So pretty simple for the most part. And I know breaking it up here, you know, just I like to break it down into these small chunks, but without the entire riff. I know it kind of makes it difficult to remember. So let me just go through the riff again, okay? Last part. That's the easy part. Open E, 2, 3, open E. So for this riff, let's go through this again real quick, okay? I'm going to slow it down for you, then I'll play it at normal speed. Then we will have our guitar chat. You don't want to miss that because that's always cool. Why do I call this an advanced galloping guitar lesson? Well, I think it might be obvious. I mean, some of the riffs were challenging, but the real answer, I think you're going to be surprised, which we're going to get into. But first, I want to give a huge thank you to all my local folks who have been coming to my acoustic shows. Most of you know, on the side, I do live acoustic performances. I play 80s with a little side of 70s. That's kind of my tag there, 80s with a side of 70s. I've got to meet so many cool people over the past couple years, but lately it's just been more and more folks have been showing up from my YouTube channel to my live acoustic shows. So guys, if you live in the Tampa area or surrounding area, check my website, jasonstallworth.com. I leave my live schedule. Again, it's my live acoustic schedule. I'm not out there playing metal, although I do throw in some metal covers from time to time. I've got a cool cover of Wasted Years by Maiden. I've got an Ozzy cover. I think I did Shot in the Dark last time. So but I mix that in with a lot of like Bryan Adams, Richard Marx, Bon Jovi, stuff like that, and just some deep cuts from the 80s, the Outfield, the list goes on. But anyway, I just want to give a shout out to you guys who have been showing up to my shows. I've met some awesome people, and some of you have talked more with and befriended, and it's amazing, guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. The real reason, though, that this lesson is advanced is because of the potential that it gives you. So what I'm saying here is your riffs are now more advanced, because I know that you're going to take what I taught you in this lesson here, these 2 riffs, and you are going to expand on them. And that's the beauty of these YouTube lessons. When I do a guitar lesson like this, you know, I don't care that you learn everything note for note. I know some people are strict about that, and that's fine. That's okay. If you're learning someone else's song and you want to learn note for note, that's great. But to me, where the real magic comes in, guys, is when you learn something, you learn a technique or a concept, and you just take it and run with it, and you come up with your own riffs. That's where the magic comes in. That's the true magic of being a musician. So, okay, you learn somebody's riff, you learn my riffs, you learn somebody's song that's not yours, you didn't write it, but when you start creating your own, well, that's when you start becoming more than just a metal guitar player. You are now creating something. You are an artist. This is what you created, and that's a beautiful thing, guys. So I strongly encourage you to take these riffs, take these lessons, even if it's a song that you're learning, and just expand on it, mess around with it. Take the concepts like the galloping technique, the mixing of the alternate picking and downstrokes, take those techniques, see what you can come up with on your own. It's very, very powerful, guys, and that's what I want for you. Speaking of metal riffs and creating your own metal riffs, if you do not have my Metal Riff Master rhythm guitar course, there is a link in the description of this video for that. There's a bonus section. You're going to learn a lot of different riffs, but there's actually a bonus module in the course on riff writing. I go over some ideas on how to be more creative with your riffs and how to take ideas and make them your own. So definitely pick that course up, guys. It's helped a lot of you guitar players. I know a lot of you watching this have it right now, and thank you so much for the support. But again, there's a link below. It's called Metal Riff Master. Grab that course. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. And guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. Please give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I've got a lot of great stuff coming up for you, so stay tuned. Until the next video, as always, keep it metal.